Eminence Professor Samdhong Rinpoche and dignitaries has just entered the hall. He is accompanied by Gaden Rinpoche, Honorable MLA Kharaptan, and other dignitaries. With the blessing of His Eminence Professor Samdhong Rinpoche, may I have the proud privilege and fortune of welcoming him and expressing our collective joys for his divine and intellectual presence today on behalf of Bomdila Buddhist Society, Gontse Rabgyeling Monastery, entire people of Eastern Arunachal Pradesh, particularly Mount Bomdila. Rinpoche, we are blessed and we extend our hearty welcome. Before I start telling about the basic rules of the talk from His Eminence today, we must know that His Eminence needs no introduction. He is an institution in itself, and he is one of the greatest thinkers of our contemporary time. I have a brief biography in few words that I would like to read out in front of you. Professor Samdhong Rinpoche was born in Johor in Eastern Tibet in 1939. His father's name is Gontse and mother's name is Pema Khamlo. At the age of 5, Rinpoche was recognized by the sublime teachers in the area as the reincarnation, the fourth Samdhong Rinpoche, with a formal enthronement ceremony held at Gaden Monastery. 2 years later, Rinpoche took vows as a monk and started his education. Learning the common subjects, grammar, and spiritual studies in Lamri and other texts at the feet of the great teacher, Reverend Nawan Jiva, and other 6 teachers. At the age of 12, Rinpoche entered the great monastic university Gaden and learned at the feet of the 5 great teachers the major scriptures, besides receiving many commentarial teachings. After the Chinese invasion of Tibet, along with His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, Rinpoche was forced into exile and sought political asylum in India. In the winter of the same year, 1959, at the age of 20, Rinpoche received the full ordination vow, Bhikshu, at Bodh Gaya from His Holiness the Dalai Lama as the award. His Eminence tutor Gaden as a ceremony procedure teacher, then Shaktsepong Dorjichan as a questioner in secrecy with the presence of His Eminence, the tutor Gaden Dorjichan as the Sangha congregation. In 1960, Rinpoche was specifically advised by His Holiness the Dalai Lama to work for the Tibetan administration in Dharamsala, where Rinpoche at the same time received teachings from His Eminences, the 2 tutors, and Kyoho Rinpoche. If we briefly locate the historical time period, the forcing of our great masters in exile to India was unfortunate in one sense that Tibet lost its freedom, but it paved the way for globalization of Buddhism across the world. And His Holiness is one of the important pillars who has contributed from the depth of his knowledge to the building of the institution in the Tibetan government exile, as well as cementing the foundation of Buddhist teaching both in India and across the world. His Holiness, there are uncountable degrees, achievements to count, but briefly, all we can say is that he is one of the greatest masters that we have today and who has seen both 20th and 21st century. He was Principal, Central Institute of Tibetan Higher Studies, Central Institute of Tibetan Higher Studies and Postgraduate Teachings and Research, Sarnath, Varanasi. Director, Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies, Dean University, Sarnath. He was the first Prime Minister of Government in Exile, and he has been a member of Indian Council of Philosophical Research, Asiatic Society Kolkata, Central Institute of Buddhist Studies Ladakh, Sikkim Research Institute of Tibetology Gangtok, Nav Nalanda Mahaviharan, Nalanda Bihar. Member in Buddhist Studies, National Advisory Committee, Government of India. Former Vice President, World Buddhist Social Service, Saigon, Vietnam. Member, Acharya Narendra Dev Institute of Pali Studies, Lucknow. Member, Board of Studies, Institute of Mahayana Studies, Nagarjuna University, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. Member, Board of Studies, Tibet, Department of Indo-Tibetan Studies, Shantiniketan University. Former Advisor, World Peace University. Former Advisor, Institute of Asian Democracy, New York, USA. Advisor in Global Education Association, New York, USA. Former Vice President, Association of Indian Universities. Former President, Association of Indian Universities. Former Member, Association of Commonwealth Universities. Former Visiting Professor, Tasmania University, Australia. Former Visiting Professor, Hampshire College, USA. Former Chancellor, Sanchi University of Buddhist Indic Studies, Government of Madhya Pradesh, 2 terms. Member in the Foundation of Universal Responsibility New Delhi as a nominee of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. He is a trustee member of Dalai Lama Trust, Chairman Kumaraswamy Center for Traditional Studies. He has been there as Chairman Lucknow, Chairman Ayur Gyan Nyas Viral UP, Patron of the Foundation for Non-Violent Alternatives, New Delhi. He is the Alternative Chairperson of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama for his greatly efficient and far-sighted beneficial works in education, culture, social welfare and administration throughout India and abroad, spanning over many decades. His Eminence Professor Samdhong Rinpoche was presented the degree of D.Litt by the universities such as Nav Nalanda Mahavihar, Tilak Maharashtra Vidyapith, Department of Education, Banaras University, Gujarat Vidyapith, Ahmedabad, etc. But Rinpoche has not accepted them except the delivery of convocation address. With this rather glossy and inadequate expression, I would like once again welcome all of you to this historical moment. Tashit to all of you. Today, Your Eminence will be delivering talk on a profound topic, an enduring quest of mankind for perhaps since man appeared on this earth, that is happy and meaningful life. After this, His Holiness will be delivering his talk. His talk will be followed by a question and answer session. To make the system more functional and efficient, what we have done is there are volunteers moving across you. As the speech of His Holiness progresses, you can formalize questions in your mind and hand over to the near volunteer standing near you. We will collect all of the questions, since most of the questions are interrelated and sometimes, most of the time, similar questions are asked. We would be selecting 5 representative questions from the audience and presenting to His Holiness for his wisdom. The ground rules of today's gathering is that all of you will keep the mobile on switch off mode. The questions has to be precise and directly related to the topic. And as the saying goes, if we are happy, does it mean we are being meaningful? If we are living our life meaningfully, does it mean we are at the same time happy? So these are the questions perhaps running through our minds, because it is a subjective, experiential matter. So each one of us has some preconceived notions in our mind. So we would be requesting or our suggestion that we'll, for the moment, keep our mind, some portion of our mind empty, and our preconceived notion of happy and meaningful life, let's put it at the side for the time being, so that our cup is empty, so that we can receive the teachings from His Holiness in neutral mind. And once this is framed in our mind, we can objectively investigate it after going back to home and compare it with what we thought about a good life is. Thereby perhaps we will be doing honor, justice and respect to the compassionate consent of His Holiness, His Eminence, for being with us. Once again, Your Eminence Venerable, and I welcome all of you. Thank you.
Vidute kalpuna jalam gambir udar murtahe naman samanta badriya samanta trishi. Most venerable monks, distinguished guests such as MLA and other various post holders, and sisters and brothers. This afternoon we are having a kind of conversation, but it is a bit strange. We all belong into such a community who speaks the language of Bodhi, based on 34 letters, 30 consonants and 4 vowels. Yet we have to depend our communication some other foreign language. That reminds us that the literal language and the local colloquial language has a vast gap which compels us to borrow some other language when it comes for our conversation. And particularly, I never had a chance to learn the English language. Actually, in the beginning, I opposed to learn this for a number of years, and later on, circumstances compels me to pick up some knowledge, but I don't have any proficiency in this language. Therefore, I find it many times difficult to express myself properly when I use this language. But it is a reminder of the reminiscence of the colonial power. India gets political independence and past 75 years, but we are still not able to get language independence as yet, at the official level as well as at a society level. And that also tells something, human history. So coming back to today's conversation, I was asked to talk about happy and meaningful life. This is a very vast subject. I don't know how we'll able to make justice with it in an hour's time. However, since I accepted to talk about this topic, I shall have to try at my level best. Happy life and meaningful life, this is two different things. A meaningful life might be a happy life, but it is not necessarily, a happy life may not be a meaningful life. Meaningless life may also sometimes be in the category of a happy life. First of all, it is very difficult to define what is happiness. There are many different opinions at the philosophical level as well as at the ordinary people's level. The definition of happy or happiness differs from person to person, group to group, community to community. And particularly, happiness is not a material thing. It is a mental attitude, mindset. I remember a few years back when I was in active service, some young lady researcher come to me to ask how to measure the happiness. What are the yardsticks to measure the happiness? So I was not able to make an immediate answer, but I just to say there should be some other way to measure the happiness. The question was because the Bhutanese government has coined a word, the national gross happiness. So since the national gross happiness is become a terminology, then there need to be a yardstick to measure it. Then I casually said that you can count the number of wants and the number of fulfillments. At a gross level, the number of fulfillments of people's want can be used as a yardstick for the measurement of happiness. And at the subtle level, the count of wants, the lesser count of wants indicates the larger happiness. And the larger number of wants, whether it was fulfilled or unfulfilled, the want itself is an indication of the unhappiness. So after some time, she came back. She said, yes, I used this yardstick and it was perfectly okay. Now I am able to research the research and quantified, statistically quantified the gross happiness. So today also we go like that. What is happiness? And in my view, happiness can only be measured the quantum of desire, wants, and attachment. As much attachment, as much desire, as much wants are at a larger side increasing, then their happiness is doubtful. Happiness is a satisfaction in our own language, santosh. Whatever is available to one that makes the person satisfied, not wanting any more, that is the real happiness. Now coming back to we are not only to define the happiness, we shall have to talk about how to achieve the happiness, happy life. In my view, to have a happy life, to lead a happy life, there is three components which is essential. The first is sound body, the second is sound mind, and the third is right livelihood. A person who are looking for a happy life should have a good health, sound body. If your body is not perfect and troubled by many inconveniences or diseases, then you cannot have a happy life. So the first requisite thing is to have a sound body. And for that, you must have the basic knowledge how to keep a sound body. Right from the childhood. It is a great responsibility of the parents and relatives to educate the children at the growing age how to lay the foundation of sound body, a good health. Today, the problem, I think we need to know this also, the gap between modernity and tradition is widening all the time, and now at this moment we all consider to be living in the post-modern civilization. We have passed through the modernity and ultra-modernity, and at this moment we are in the stage of post-modern. I don't want to call it a civilization, but I can call it a post-modern living system. How to live in a system that's post-modern. The Westerns call it as a civilization. In my view, it is an uncivilization, whatever it may be. So in this era, the human beings are not user to any community. And traditionally, we are user to our needs. Today we are converted into consumer. We consuming the things, we are not using the things. We have right to use the things, we do not have basic right to consume the things. So we are consumer. In the consumeristic society, in the society which is based on post-industrialization and market-oriented economy, a market-oriented everything. In this situation, a sound health is become difficult. Because now health is not to be protected right from the beginning and prevent to health hazards and diseases. Because the health care has become also an industry. People shamelessly call it a health industry. The hospitals are considered to be a good industry where it earns money by the owners. And there, the disease is the capital. To prevent disease is not the priority. To cure the disease through various medicines or treatments, that become. Otherwise, the society become free from disease. The medical professionals might be losing their livelihood. So this is one of the obstacles we are facing to have a sound body. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the oneself as well as the parents and elders to look after the children's basic health, for which we need proper food, proper behavior, proper routine of life, which consists of work, rest, sleeping, and thinking. All these components to be balanced and well organized. Particularly, the food is one of the basic component to make a sound body, particularly at the young age. Overeating, untimely eating, next eating before the first eating is digested, and contaminated food, unsuitable food, unclean food, all these are the hazard to health. And food is one of the primary. Then how much exercise and physical work is to be carried out, how much rest is needed, how much sleeping is needed, which doesn't have any universal yardstick. Each individual shall have to understand one's own needs and to schedule one's lifestyle on that basis. And there should be regularity, and particularly negative mindset such as anger, jealousy, envy, etc. need to be prevented. Not only for the peace of mind, but for the sound body to have a good physical health. And particularly the timings and the quantities and the qualities of food. In the tradition, the Ayurveda, the Unani, the homeopath, the natural path, these are the real which can put foundation for the sound health, should be studied and should be looked after and should be taken care of. And the second thing is to have sensitiveness to one's own body. That is why the Buddha taught his disciples to have 4 different kind of mindfulness. Chaturs Anusmriti Prasthana. The first is mindfulness about body. Kaya Anusmriti Prasthana. Kaya Anusmriti Prasthana is to give attention to whole body. Whenever there is some kind of different feeling, there should be noticed, and one should be able to register into the consciousness whatever feelings had happened any part of the body, and thereby you will be able to watch your own body, whether there's some kind of challenge diseases or any unusual thing that can be noticed easily. We are quite insensitive to our body, particularly for the subtle feelings. That's why these days many people able to diagnose dangerous diseases such as cancer at very late stage. If this disease can be detected at the early stage, that can be treated and cured quite easily. When it detected late, then it becomes difficult to treat. That is due to our insensitiveness to our body. So then the regularity of our schedules, when we should sleep, and irregular schedule of lifestyle has also terrorism to the health. So these are just indications. There are many other things, particularly the Chikitsa Vidya, traditional Chikitsa Vidya tells how we should behave in different seasons of the year, how we should behave in particular times of particular action, how we should behave all the time. We should remember about the health care. So all these are necessary for any age group. Health is human body is very strong. It has its own potential to recover many diseases. So if we are able to do some positive things such as mindfulness meditation and breathing exercise. Breathing exercise, few of the breathing exercises are very good for keeping a good and sound health. Breathing exercise, pranayama, is also a vast subject. And in the recent scholars, such as Swami Ramdev, has taken out few very useful things and taught them to the people in an easy language. So this should be put into our daily routine and therefore keep a sound body. It is our basic birth responsibility to respect our body and to protect our body. If you have a good body and need not to frequently visit any health center or hospital, that will give you a foundation for happy life. And the second requirement is about the mind. When I say sound mind, it does not mean that distorted mind or unusual kind of madness. The sound mind refers to a rational and independent mind. Not easily accept anything which someone tells or some information carries or some book, someone written a book, and without any examination, without any contemplation, to accept everything as the rumor goes by, and you just... So to keep the mind rational and logical, independent, not easily accepting anything without knowing it. The problem in modern society, the educations become kind of information input, nothing else. Not only information input, at many times it becomes indoctrination, brainwashing. And the children also become easy habit that whatever teacher taught, he just accept them. He or she just accept them. Whatever is written in a book, take him for granted. That's why I used to say to my scientific persons, science done, I used to say, yes, the religion and the spiritual traditions have also separated a number of blind faiths, and at the same time, modern science has also created a lot of blind faiths among the people. Blind faith means just accepting. Someone has said, and you accept, and you just accepting and knowing is an entirely different thing. Knowing means you examined and you found it, and you realize it. And accepting means someone told you this is white, and you have not examined whether it is white or blue. You just accept, yes, it is white. He have told me. The book have written. So by this way, we have lost the discriminative wisdom, which is basic blessings of humanity. The animals and the humanity has only the differentiation is the rationality and the logical mind. Otherwise, eating, fighting, family arising, all these things our animals also can do. And the human beings also do the same thing. The human beings' distinction from the animal world is the discriminative wisdom, the rational mind, that shall have to be always there, and whatever you learn, you should know it. you should not accept it. Whatever is accepting without knowing, that is in the category of the blind faith. It may be scientific knowledge or it may be adhyatmic knowledge. There's no difference. Whatever it may be without knowing. That is why the Buddha has said forcefully, particularly, O bhikkhus and learned person, don't accept anything because the Buddha has said it. Even the Buddha, he himself told, don't accept without knowing it. Then he gave the metaphor as a goldsmith examines the gold by cutting it, by rubbing it, by burning it, then he finds whether it's pure or not. Similarly, through different ways of logic and rationality, you examine my words, and when you find for yourself it is correct or not correct, that is the way of learning. So without having such discriminative and analytical way of knowing, you are accepting 100% may not be, mostly 80%, 90% it may be wrong. It becomes a blind faith. Actually, it is also the defects of the modern education system. Modern education system, I have mentioned before, just inputting the information, like the human mind has become like a computer, and whatever is inputted there, and in the time of examination, loading down is from there. So this kind of things doesn't mean you have a knowledge. Actually, the education system must be awakening the inner intelligence. My late friend Jiddu Krishnamurti repeatedly always used to say, the purpose of education must be awakening the inner intelligence. It can arise and awake the inner intelligence so that the humanity can flower in goodness. Goodness cannot be imposed from outside. Goodness shall have to be flowering from within. Similarly, the happiness cannot be imposed. Happiness shall have to be flower automatically from the within. For that, the sound mind is an indispensable instrument to have a happy life. I think the time is running fast, so we shall have to be brief. So the third is right livelihood. Right livelihood is a difficult thing today. In the tradition, the professions are by hereditary. What a parent does a livelihood, does a job that will carry by the children. Any art, any expertise, and any performances, whatever it may be, it is inherited. And that's why in the ancient time, employment or unemployment never known to the society, because the society work for the society by their own hereditary professions and knowledges. And therefore everyone is the owner, no one is doing service. Today, the education is not giving for become an ownership. It is for getting the service, paid service. And it's very funny. The accreditation of universities are also being done on the criteria of how many employments are being getting within the campus and how much employments are getting alumnus. So to become a servant, paid servant is considered to be openly, considered to be shamelessly, considered to be the object of education. To make people servant, not honor, as some kind of achievement. So, therefore, right livelihood is very difficult to get in. How to identify livelihood is the right thing. So I used to say three things. First, non-violence. Non-violence means non-violence and ethical. Whatever you do, there is not involvement of unethical activities. And the second is eco-friendly. Whatever you have a livelihood or job or project, that should not be a hazard to the ecosystem, environment. This is second thing, because this is a big challenge to entire, not only humanity, to entire living beings on this global earth. That is a great challenge today. So we have to think about whatever we have a livelihood, that should be eco-friendly. And the third is sustainable. Once you start established, and this should be sustained at least throughout your life or your children's life, that kind of. So this kind of right livelihood is not easy to find out. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, the farmer, the agriculture work on the land is one of the best livelihood. And he might be right, but in today's postmodern living system, it may not be applicable to everyone. But whatever, of course, coming 100 or 200 years, I don't think the economic system would substantially change, and the system of serving to others may not be radically changed. Therefore, we shall have to find out right livelihood, even working for others. Therefore, to judge the others' work, how much it is ethical, how much it is eco-friendly, how much is sustainable, all this we need to find out. And in the time of the scarce livelihood, choice may be very limited. But at the same time, self-supported, that is one way people should, if one needs a clean and happy life, self-supportive job, self-supportive livelihood, not depending on any other ownership or bosses. That may be difficult to find, but one really wish to have a happy life, then there should be, right from the beginning, there should be some kind of initiative how to become self-supportive. People might say, in the present situation, it is impossible, but human effort continues, there should be possible, particularly in the village life, agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, this kind of self-supportive ventures, I don't think it is absolutely impossible. Particularly Himalayan region like our region, the Memphis and surrounding, they are largely yet farmers, and as a follower of Gandhi, the agriculture work should not be should not be considered as post-dated, and it has a great potential in future as well, particularly who are looking for a self-sufficient, self-supportive and right livelihood or happy life that can look up around for them. So these are the three components which I very briefly just point of concentration mentioned. Then thereafter, the other thing, meaningful, how to make the life meaningful. Life meaningful has to be considered from little different angle. If you are leading happy life, it may not be necessarily very meaningful if the happiness comes to an end, when your life comes to an end. There are two different groups of people. Many people, followers of religion, such as Buddhism and many other religions, which believes the continuity of life after death. For them, then the long-term objective should be natural life's benefits. And there may be some people who may not believe any life after death. The life comes to an end, the consciousness comes to an end when a person dies. In India also, the Charvak, they do not believe in any continuity of life. Even then, their life would be considered meaningful. The happiness can be heredited to their next generation or their society around. For that purpose, to make the life meaningful, you need, after the three components, the fourth component is spirituality, Adhyatmic Vidya. Adhyatmic Vidya is a pervasive word for every religious tradition. It means that looking inwards. For example, someone asks, "Who are you?" We immediately react, "I am Losan, I am Sunam, I am so-and-so." React by the names. Actually, names are the person, not the person. When the child born, there was no name. The names are later someone have put to them. And actually, we never look into ourselves. What the consciousness comes from, how the consciousness living through the life, how the consciousness goes after the death, and what the consciousness has any responsibility or accountability. So these are the basic questions of inner sight. Or in other words, we should say mind and matter. We are looking after the matter so briefly, detailed, so subtly, but we never examine the mind. To look to the mind, these days in the modern education system, Western psychology is considered to be dealing with the mind. Actually, the psychology does not deal with the depth of mind, because the mind and matter, these two components, involves the entire universe, entire existence. So these are equally a component to make something whole. Matter cannot exist without mind. Mind cannot exist without the matter. And the relationship between, interdependent relationship between mind and matter is a great question. From birth to death, this life's activities and affairs can be taken, you just care to the matter and neglecting to the mind. There may not be something drastic happening. The sky may not fall down. But when it comes to the real happiness of the inner consciousness, and it makes it sustainable for that happiness, then you shall have to take care of the mind, the subtle mindset. That is a very deep subject. And only you are able to take care of the mind to reduce negative emotions, to promote the positive emotions, and become compassionate to all living beings. Then your life may be considered as meaningful, because then you become oneness to entire living system. That is the value. That is the meaning. And in that way, you may consider as leading a meaningful life. Now the time is up, so I will stop here, and the rest time shall use question-answer session. But I am little afraid that I may not be able to answer all of your questions. Anyhow, I welcome your questions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Your Holiness. That was very profound and has given us reasons to contemplate. Your Holiness, we have selected.
Not say holiness.
Your Holiness, we have
Yes.
five questions. First question is happiness a spiritual thing or a material thing?
Pardon?
Is happiness spiritual or material?
Spiritual or
Material.
material? That question cannot answer by me. It shall have to be answered by oneself, the questioner. A happiness comes from spiritual cause, then happiness will be spiritual. The happiness is come from the material world or material causes, then happiness also belonging to that category. what is the cause that makes the effect. So, material positions or achievements give you happiness. That is also in the category of happiness, and that happiness is in the category of the material thing, and it is not sustainable. It will go after some time. At least when you die, it will not remain. But happiness is created by the spiritual practice, then that is sustainable happiness and also in the category of the spirituality. This is my view.
The next question is, how do you define success with meaningful life?
Pardon?
How do you define success and meaningful life?
Success and
Meaningful life.
meaningful life. Success is a modern terminology. In the tradition, we are not much talking about successful. We talk only cause and effect. Anyhow, if the question is asked, the successful as we use in contemporary language, then that successful, sorry, what was the question?
Success and meaningful life.
Success and
Meaningful.
yes. As we discussed before, the success is of material, then it does not contribute to the meaningful life. The success is spirituality, then of course that contributes to make the life meaningful. Next.
The next question is, how to deal with fear of uncertainty of future?
I forgot to mention the fear because of limitation of time. I was in a haste. The desire, the attachment, the fear, the doubt, all these are the cause of unhappiness. Uncertainty of future is one's own made. Future is to be built by the present. And if you do everything in perfect way in the present and make every cause the future as certain, if we Buddhists might talk about the next life, if you do in this life perfect positive things and nothing accumulated bad karma, then your future is not uncertain. You will reborn in the good realms in the next life. And you have accumulated the cause already. Now it comes to the material life. Your business may be profitable in the future or not, or your post positions are improved in the future or not. This kind of material future uncertainty, that also largely goes to the one's present action. Natural calamity or some accidents, that is absolutely uncertain. Otherwise, most of the material things you can make certain by your own action. You know the cause and you know how to accommodate the cause, and you do that, then the things will become certain. Deal with uncertainty. In the Buddhist monks' way of life, there are only two ways. The first thing is to make the things certain by accumulating the cause for the effect. That is one way. If you are not able to do the uncertainty to certain, then ready to accept everything. Whatever may come, I will face, because there is no other way. My fear has no utility. If I fear that uncertainty may not go, I do not fear the uncertainty will be there. So therefore, fear is useless. Whatever may come, I will face it and I will accept whatever comes. Then I will take some benefit or opportunity from that bad thing or undesirable thing. To find some opportunity from the disaster is also one way of the approaching to the future.
The next question is, why do we live? What is the reason?
What is the?
Why do we live? Why do we exist? What are the reasons for our existence?
This is maybe a good and in-depth question. This may not be a good and in-depth question. It can be interpreted in both ways. I sometimes jokingly say to my friends, you are not living, you are spending your life. To live and to spend life is something different. To live means you are using your life in a positive way, helping others, raising children, giving education, serving people, looking after oneself, meditating. All these efforts are using the life in a positive way, and thereby you are living. And otherwise, the time is like water, it goes all the time. And you are just spending the life and waiting for the death. So this is how to live and how to spend the life. Now your question is, why to live? Because we born. You are born as a human being, not by your own choice, by voluntarily. It was your karmic force. The previous life has accumulated a good karmic force to give you this birth. And that karmic force has also determined the length of your life. And you may die before the ending of the karmic force, but you cannot live anything longer than that. So this is also determined by a karmic force. Now, a question appears that you are not happy to live. And you are not happy to live, you cannot end your life voluntarily or independently, one's own decision. Until your life comes to end, the karmic force comes to end. You cannot give up your life. Even someone try to suicide, it may not be successful. Many stories in the recent incidents, some people have miraculously survived. That person might ask, why I am living? This question may be relevant. So these are all, we cannot see the real face because the karmic forces are not pratyaksh, not directly perceivable to ourselves. So we live, according to Buddhism, we live as per force of our previous karmic force. Or if you're not a Buddhist, you are believing in a creator, then we would say we live because of the wishes of the creator. We live by the creator's willingness or by the karmic force, whatever it may be. You cannot shorten the life, you cannot increase the life, but what is your freedom, your free will is how to use it positively or negatively. That is entirely one's own free will.
The next question is, how are suffering and happiness related?
Suffering and happiness related is a technical question. In the material world, many people have said, many books, you will find that if there is no suffering, then happiness cannot be enjoyed or cannot be recognized. Because in today's way, looking things is a comparison. Comparison and competition, these two are become the major activities of the modern life. If there is no suffering, then you will not able to recognize happiness as happiness. Happiness is happy because comparing the unhappy. There is no unhappy, then how you can designate or you can put the meaning of happy without realizing the sense of unhappiness. These are the that is related. Related means comparison with something. This is one way to relate it. Causality relation and comparative relation, there are two relations are taught about in the canons. For example, the fruit is related to the tree because the tree is the cause and the fruit is the result, the causality relationship. And the big and small, the small is considered to be small in comparison with the big. If there is no big, any size cannot be designate or define as small by itself. It designates as small comparing with the big. So by this way, it is relative, comparative relationship. So that is the way how the happiness relates to the suffering. one's own experience also, there's no suffering from insomnia. You will not find the pleasure of the sleeping. If you are not experience the pleasure of the sleeping, you may not feel the uncomfortableness of the insomnia. So these kind of relations are there. Lauren.
With chanting of the mantra without knowing its meaning beneficial.
Chanting of the mantra without knowing the meaning has its own value. If you know the meaning, then the chanting becomes more effective and more meaningful. You know the meaning in the mind, and you recite the word in the sound, and then your mind and your voice both are working the positive thing, and it makes it more valuable. Even you are not knowing the meaning of the mantra, and you are chanting the mantra by pronouncing it through voice. That has its own value, because each syllable, each sound has its own positive effect. My teacher used to explain this by metaphor. There was two beggars. One beggar is able to speak clear words. The other beggar is dumb, not able to speak anything. So both are going to beg to some door. The speaking beggar says, "Please give me some food, I am hungry." And the other is dumb, but just by gesture, just like this. So the giver understands both. So similarly, for example, we are chanting our Lokeshwara's mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Who knows the meaning with meditation chants is more effective. And who not knowing that the I am Lokeshwara says, this person is also praying to me and I should look after him. So this is, of course they are not same, but both have effects.
Which is the last question is, why does Buddha not always fall in the holy month of Sakata?
Pardon?
Why does Buddha Purnima does not always fall in the month of Sakata? I think he's asking about the Pali tradition and the Tibetan tradition about Buddha Purnima. Falling on different days.
Buddha Purnima falling all this time in the Sagadawa, that I shall have to say as one answer. Then in that case, the Tibetan calendar Sagadawa and the Pali tradition calendar Sagadawa, after 2 years it is different months, 1 month after. So this is the different traditions of the astrological calculations. Astrological calculations has a number of different way of calculation. That's why Sagadawa is not coinciding with the Western calendar. The Pali tradition, the Buddha Purnima is coming to the Western calendar. Western calendar and the Indian calendar means the Tibetan. the Kalachakra calendar. The way of calculation are different. The Western calendar is based on year. 365 days makes a year, and that is based on the movement of sun. And they do not recognize the movement of moon. Therefore, after each 4 years, there is a leap year. 1 day is added to the February. And otherwise, the calculation 31st, 30, 31st, 30, and 28. By this way, 365 days according to the sun's movement. And there's no necessarily keeping with the moon's movement. And the Indian calendar, which is now preserved in Tibetan culture calendar, is year is based on sun, and month is based on moon. Each 15th, the full moon, each 30th, the non-moon. By this way, the month is always calculated through the rising of moon, and the year is calculated according to the movement of the sun. And by this way, after 2-3 years, because our months are calculated according to the rising of the moon, 1 month become extra. Otherwise, the year's calculation will be disturbed. So whenever we have an extra month after 3 years or 4 years, that causes the difference of the Sagadava as well. But it does not make all the difference. For example, this year there was 1 month difference. Next year we will come together. The next year we will come together. Then there's next year again 1 month gap. Now, if your question meant that this month difference will cause Buddha Purnima unreality. For example, this year there are 2 Buddha Purnima. The first is true or the second is true. Both are true. Both are true cannot be considered because it is 1 month gap. So it is referring back 2570 years back Buddha's time, and which is calculated today. So therefore, both of the calculations are only difference of basis on which it is calculating. So therefore, we can celebrate Buddha Purnima twice. It makes no difference. It has its own merits.
Next on the agenda, we have offering of presentation to His Eminence Rinpoche by the members of the Bomdila Buddhist Society on behalf of everyone in the hall to express our feelings of gratitude and to strengthen our current merit of being students of your eminence for all lifetimes to come. We have our Vice President, Advocate Amos Siddhisoji, and our Senior Secretary, Madam Jason Dokar. have come to the end of highly wise and educated
Happy life.
discussion from His Eminence. On behalf of everyone, we would like to express our deep sense of gratitude to Your Eminence, and we also thank the Monastery and the BDS team for making this happen. We are very fortunate and very encouraged with the presence of our dynamic honored MLA, Kalakhan of Genesee, Sri Chetan Chumbeji, and along with him all the town leaders and officers who came all along the way from Rupa, despite the schedule to encourage and to be with us. We also thank all the officers, public leaders, students particularly, and all our Sangha members from GR Monastery, and electricians and all people who are associated in conducting this program successfully. May we meet again and again. May His Eminence live long, and may we have the fortune to receive His blessings and words of wisdom again and again. Thank you. I request all the students to stay back.